Dan here, TD Speed Shop, Camaro Stripping Edition. Man, that's such kind of a good name for like a male stripper, eh? Camaro. Side note, I always thought it'd be kind of a funny name is, Hooters, guys go to Hooters and all that. Well, ladies out there, the one lady watching, my mom, she needs to be able to go to a place, and I mean, like Peckers or something, that'd be a good name for that, eh? Anyway, today, there's actually not a whole lot of stripping to be done today. Sorry guys. I did a lot of it in the last video because I thought we were going to do wheel tubs and quarters, and then we ended up doing frame rails. Funny how that works. But now I think we have enough where we can move ahead and start putting quarter panels in, is going to be, or at least tack it all together. That's the plan today. And I thought I would give a little bit of my, I don't want to say advice, but my personal experience as to what works and what doesn't. Everybody thinks you can just put kind of a quarter skin on, you'll be golden, which is, a lot of cars rot in the quarter section. And I thought I would just go ahead and say, you may not go this far every time, but I gotta think you're gonna go pretty close. It's gonna be a rarity, unless it was like an accident, like a crunch or something like that, where you're gonna do the quarter panel and not end up doing like wheelhouses and stuff like that. So the way these old cars are, they would have an inner wheelhouse and an outer wheelhouse, then the quarter panel on the outside, and then a trunk drop down. And we up in where we are in the Great White North, typically you're doing a combination of those. So you're gonna do a quarter panel skin. I mean, usually what happens, you'll toss a bunch of junk in here, it ends up getting caught between the trunk drop and the quarter panel, so it rots out down here. And then same up in this area here where the wheel tub would be, it gets kind of jammed in there, full of sand and rocks and salt, whatever it may be. It gets caught up in this little lip, and then it rots out this section as well. Typically here isn't too bad. The rockers will do that, and then up in here, usually you're pretty much golden. However, where everything joins together, that's where you have the issues. And at that point, I think this is probably a bit of a scary look to a lot of people. You're like, oh, let's change a quarter panel, and this is how far it has to come apart. Sometimes that's reality, and pretty rare where you're not going deeper in than you think you are before you get rid of all that rust. You got good metal to get to. So this is on the extreme side, but it's definitely something you guys should all not be scared of doing as far as I'm concerned. So we're gonna put the quarters on. In this situation, we're gonna put wider wheel tubs in simply because we have some rust in the trunk floor. And instead of fixing the rust, I'm just gonna put wider wheel tubs in and eliminate that rust. And then we'll be able to put a bigger tire in. So it's kind of a win-win. That's the plan anyways. Then we'll kind of show the fitment. The big thing you wanna do here is back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You're gonna end up putting the wheel tubs in, but you gotta make sure the wheel tubs fit the quarter panel fits the car, and all that stuff. You don't wanna have everything you don't wanna just like put the inner wheel tub in, weld it. Outer wheel tub in, weld it. Put the quarter panel on, weld it. As you go further and further, stuff may not fit. These cars were not precise fit to start, so you have to do some tweaking and some moving and some shuffling and jiving and all that. Not to mention this car specifically, I believe, was hit in the back end here, which means obviously everything has been kind of shifted around a little. The car looks good, everything opens and closes, doors work, everything is fine. I want to hang the quarter. I also did buy a tail pan, which I would like to install as well. So I don't know if I'll do that all at once. I think what I might do is get the wheel tubs in, get the quarter hung, so I'm happy with that. And then we can adjust the tail pan to the quarters versus the other way around in case it has a little bit of ooh on the next video. And if this is off, it'd be easy to get into the trunk floor as well. But bit by bit, I want to keep this thing as strong as I possibly can. We got a little bit of bracing in it, nothing too much, but the frame rails are back in. Once the quarters go back on, we'll be fine. So the next step I'm going to do, I'm going to get all the remaining wheel tub out, cut that out. We're going to blindly cut some of this trunk or passenger floor out because the wheel tubs go right up against the frame rail, the new frame rail I may add. And that's what I did on the other side, so we'll match that. I do have to strengthen this, put a little patch in there. I ordered this panel, which may be tricky to put in after the fact. So it does go, it's supposed to go on first and the wheel tubs go on. I may end up, I don't know if I should just cut it out first maybe. I always do the repair from the outside if the quarters aren't permanent. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I'm still waiting on parts, unfortunately, so that's the story of my life. But you guys will be there as well. You think you have everything you need, you'll cut it all apart and go, oh, I need this part, and it's 2 weeks away, and then you're like, well, wait or keep thrashing. So let's keep thrashing. So, we did a little bit of cutting. Now fortunately, the other side took me, well, fortunately this side, the other side took me a lot longer because I had to kind of cut and fit and cut and fit. So these wheel tubs I got, they're, I want to say Dynacorn, but I don't even know. I shouldn't even say. I don't know where they came from. But there's no instructions. I know some of the Detroit Speed stuff is like a pretty fancy kit that has like diagrams and all sorts of stuff. We're just kind of winging it. Now these tubs should require the frame rail to be cut and kind of moved over and stuff. And realistically, I guess I could have done that on the other side, but we didn't. The plan was, so we had all that rusty trunk pan, which has now been removed. So instead of fixing the trunk pan, we're mini tubbing. So now we have all good metal for the most part. Now what I did on the other side is I actually trimmed the lip of the frame so it was right flush, and then I just seam welded it, and I'll probably do the same thing. I just want to show you that before we carry on too much further. Basically I think I went up to about where the kind of bump stop was and to about here, because as you can see the frame rail, hopefully it shows up, it kind of jots off to the side. So the front of the rail here, there's more room for the wheel tub than at the back. So what I did is I kind of split the difference. I cut as much of that out as I could, and then I actually hung the wheel tub over into the trunk a little bit, and I think I'll continue on the same side. Some people are freaking out saying, oh, it's going to cause all sorts of issues and stuff. I don't think so. We'll get that in there, we'll weld it solid, I'll seam seal it, so it's not going to be tossing stuff in the trunk. Maybe it was misunderstood, but that's not the plan. It'll all, get tossed back here, which I guess the wheel tub, the outer tub will be a little lower, and if I smart the inner, it should cover a fair bit. It shouldn't really make that big of a difference. Other people are always saying, oh, use a plasma, use a plasma. Honestly, I like the zip disc, and I feel it gives me a little bit more control. It's a little slower, but when you don't really know what you're doing, it makes a big difference. Up here, this side of the floor is actually nicer, so I'll be slowly trimming this back. The other side I cut right out to get the inner wheel tub in, and then realistically, I think at this point I might just, we'll get the wheel tubs in. I think one thing at a time. We'll get the wheel tubs in. This rocker's got to go. I ordered this panel. It's not here yet. And I'm just going to section in the bottom piece. Now the wheel tub obviously does attach on the inside to this, so I'll have to, make that fit. some which way down the road. But again, these quarters are literally just tacked on. The wheel tub going in, it's welded to the frame, to the trunk floor, to all this bracing, and up here, it gives it kind of a lot of strength back. It's like all these cars have like a skeleton, and then they're just skinned, right? And we're doing a little bit of skeleton repair as we speak. So I have a little bit more grinding to do. I want to get that. I want to get the wheel tub in, so that's all fit. Then I can probably fix this piece, because this is actually not in too bad a shape. I mean, it's garbage, but for where it fits, and it's still welded to the rocker, so I can fix this top piece of the rocker, which no one's going to see, because again, that's going to be skinned over. Weld a little patch in there, and I can weld this to that, and then we should be kind of smooth sailing once we get the wheel tubs and all that in. A matter of fitting on the quarter panel and go from there. Again, we're just going to tack it all on, make sure it all kind of fits, and I think up next we might tackle this back pan. We'll see how it wants to come off, and we have to do the trunk floor pan, and by then hopefully more parts start showing up. So that's kind of where we're at. I mean, it's ugly, it's terrible work, but another day or two, I think the real ugly stuff will be done. I mean, floor patches suck, but this car's a lot more sturdy. I mean, now it's terrible, but it will be. Okay, so I did a little bit more trimming. I figured I'd just kind of show you exactly what I'm gonna do. So you can see there's a little edge, which I have cut off. And in the last video, I had drilled out part of the frame rails to be welded to the floor, and then other parts where we drilled out some plug welds so we could weld from the floor to the frame. And I just re-drilled every spot weld that I ground down, so it's the exact same number. Now on the side here is slightly different, because we're cutting that off to just gain that much more room worth of wheel tub. So obviously that gives us a bit of a goofy gap. So what we're gonna do, let's just put a pair of vice grips on there, clamp her down, and I'm just gonna go ahead and weld that, seam weld that all together, and it'll be fine. It'll be strong. Over here, I cleaned up the inside and all in here. Still got to grind it all down, but all the little leftover bits are pretty much gone. I cut a little slit. That way when we have the wheel tub in, and if I want to cut this out, I don't got to cut into the new wheel tub. It'll just already be cut. We'll go across that way, and it'll just kind of fit in. That should be a pretty simple panel, because actually the rocker's pretty solid, so it'll be an easy weld at the bottom, stitch it across the top, and we're golden. This is the next funny part, and a few people were concerned in the last video. So it's very braced up, and I cut a lot of the bracing out. It was all, I don't know where I put it all, but it was all this stuff here maybe? No, I don't know. It was all sandwiched in there, and we cut that all out. Well, this is where the shock absorber was. So obviously this had to be sturdy, because it's kind of off on its own, and that's where the shock's being pounded through. Well, obviously we have to eliminate that for, how's the lens there? For these wheel tubs. So there's no real need for them to be all boxed in, like, and we're going to cut them out, you know, as much as we can in the wheel tub. We'll buzz it all in, it'll be strong again. But what we're going to do is we're going to move the shocks to the inside of the frame rails, I believe. 67, I think, is one than the other, and 68 is opposite. No, 67 is they're both at the front, 68 and 9, one's back, one's front. It is essentially irrelevant. Once we get the rear end in there, we'll place our shocks. I'll either weld a bar across or some tabs, or we'll do something, and we'll just have to, you know, catch a different mount for the shocks. So pretty simple, but that's the plan. Now let's go ahead and get you guys all lined up here. How are we doing? Oh yeah, we're good there. So this stuff here, I should have been a little bit better prepared, eh, buddy? Hopefully this clamp is going to be grounded. So I'm literally just gonna buzz this together right quick. Well, we got the welder set pretty hot, because we're going with these frame rails are actually they're definitely sturdier than the factory deal. Okay. So that's that. So I'll just kind of work my way around and until I make that fit. I'll have to cut some of this out, but when the floor is coming up, it was kind of bending, so I want to make sure I get this as close as I can. I'll get a brand new disc on, we'll go straight up, cut it, and then around there, we'll just kind of pie cut or V it out. We'll be good. So yeah, let's keep giving her. All right, so our frame is all right to the floor. We got everything kind of cleaned out. I kind of gave this a little bit of an oblong there. What else? The floor is all kind of beat down here. I think what I'm going to do is when the floor is done, I'm going to plate the floor with some 16 gauge or something like that, right from the floor to the wheel tub, and the wheel tub will be to the rocker. Just really stiffen up that area. We did a fair bit last episode, but we'll have to do the same on the other side. It won't be as bad, so that's why I want to just match them as much as possible. So now, the wheel well goes. Now these are both going to go on the inside of the little structure here. So that's no big deal. Oh, you know, there's a little section I got to cut out here, which I didn't do yet. But both sides will go on. And ultimately, this little edge where they meet to sandwich together is going to be right in line with the trunk drop down, and then right in line with the kind of rocker opening, so it'll kind of cover that up. Now the trimming is going to come in this area right here, and back here, then the frame is still going more than we want, so I am going to take some material out of the back, which is one of those sides, that side. So we're going to have to trim just a little bit out of the tub itself, so it'll actually sit in a little, so it'll look more mini tub than it is when you look in from the trunk, but it'll be just fine. So that's what we're gonna do now. It'll be a little bit of test fitting and back and forth and screwing around, but it should fit. Again, knowing from the other side how it kind of works, I'm pretty confident it'll go pretty quickly. So we'll get them both in, just kind of clamped in place, maybe even a tack weld here and there, but you don't want to permanently mount it because the outer skin has to go on and everything has to jive together. So we'll do that, then we'll do this little structure piece, and then I think it's time for a break and charge the batteries because they're running low, and then I want a fresh mind after supper, and we'll get the whole quarter kind of section on there, which should be pretty fun and pretty easy. And it's always we're gonna go from this at probably 5 o'clock, and by 10 o'clock when we're done tonight, it'll be like kind of a car on the other side, which I really like. Makes me feel motivated. So let's get you set up on the tripod, start cutting. Okay, just a quick EG here, but this will fit in like that. So you can see the top fits okay. We have a decent, nothing's too bad there. But this, you got the camera there? Oh, my face in the way. We're, I don't know, maybe a knuckle out. So the tub at the back has to slide over, but we're locked up against the frame. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it exactly where I want it, which is pretty good here actually. It's sitting just a little funny. I'll have to mess with that. And I'm just gonna run a marker, trace on the inside, kind of cut that out. I'll leave as much of the back as I can. So I'll leave that little splash guard you section just like this out of it, push that over, and then the other piece should actually fit in pretty easy. There's not a whole lot to modify on the other side. And once we get that, then we can carry on. All right, well, let's make this happen. Gentle, gentle. Whew, okay, it was a bit of a battle, but we got her in there. Ultimately, we kind of lined it up the same as the other one. So that's pretty close. And then down here, the rocker will fit over. I got it just kind of tucked up a little. We got her clamped in. It's up against this little brace here. So that's kind of that. The clamps are going to hold it for now. I think we're doing okay. I might just want to rotate it back a little bit, but ultimately it's centered. That's where it wants to be. I have to cut a little bit more out in the trunk. There's just a little section right there at the front which is touching, which if I take that out, we'll be able to kind of pop that thing right over, and then we'll have lots of meat to weld to, so that'll be pretty sweet. And yeah, that's what I did on the other side too. I just kind of eyeballing it. So that's good. We're going to charge the phone up, or charge the camera up and everything. We'll come back, we'll weld that post real quick, which will be super easy. Then there's just a little bit of cleaning up to do around the edge where we want to join the quarter. And then the front section, we gotta get this piece off, which is kind of lame, but it'll come off, no big deal. So yeah, that's the plan. I might just put a couple of tack welds just to kind of hold it, but yeah, that's what clamps are for, I guess. Okay, so I welded a little patch that's gonna be ground down, but this is now kind of sturdy. What we're gonna do is take off this last little bit of skin from the car. Now, I realize I am a bit of a butcher when it comes to taking panels off. I don't try and take them off nice because I really don't care, but when you get in an area like this, you do kind of have to either get to remove the spot welds. So you can see here, this is two pieces of steel put together. At the factory, they had some sort of like a bzz, bzz machine, and they actually do sell them now. You can buy them fairly easily, like at our local Princess Auto. I'm sure Harbor Freight has them as well. So you can do that. What we're going to do is drill holes and plug weld them. But to take them off, we're going to use this thing. I've had this for a while now. And so hit it with the grinder real quick. You can kind of see where there's paint. That is where the weld is going to be. It's a low spot. There's going to be some in this area too. There's going to be some around here probably. I don't know where, but well, some ugly ones right there. And there's up in there. And all you do is you kind of take your grinder, you kind of burr, and then eventually you'll be able to kind of play with it and slowly but surely be able to peel it off. So, and really you can do that with every panel on these cars from factory, and even if they've been plug welded, same thing, and it'll come off. And if you're careful, I mean, especially if you're drilling them out, you could reuse the panel, no problem. So anyway, let's get set up. Son of a camera. Okay, so we'll get kind of set up here, which might be a little loud, but you know what? If you guys want the action, this is what happens. Oh, safety up, goggles on, kick glove on. Hang on. Now this is a 3M one, but Amazon sells them real cheap, and you can get these anywhere now. And they stick like a little mini belt sounder. They're super handy. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this one. Of course, the compressor immediately kicked on, but where did I put my screwdriver? So we got a couple, these 3 out. If you kind of just put your screwdriver in there, you can kind of make it pop out. So that's that. You want to make sure you're not setting the back layer. You need to keep that. So I'll just go ahead and buzz this out right quick, and then that'll be removed. And really, I don't think we got a little bit of grinding to do at the back there for sure to kind of fit the panel. I'll show you a little bit of that once we get there. But this is the next step, and it sucks. Okay, so we got everything cleaned up, ready to go. Now, this is the kind of tricky part. It's also the fun part, because the car starts looking like something. That being said, you got to be kind of particular. So we got the front skin off. I cleaned off around the bottom where the rocker is. I cleaned up this. So I went right to the drop down in the trunk, like where the deck lid fits, and up in there. So now, if that other panel, we rolled right up to this, the gap in the deck lid on this side will stay the same. So that was the issue we ran into on the last one. Man, the planes are getting her today. Is the panel just kind of has to scoot over a little bit back here, and that just wasn't happening. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. Now these panels here, these are Dynacorn panels, so they're the same guys that make the whole car, so I went with them. Anywho, what we have to do now is fit this panel on the car, because we need to make sure the wheel tubs fit the panel and everything jives. So if we get this on there kind of skinned over, then we can weld in the wheel tubs, then we can move on to fitting this panel. Now, for this panel to fit, obviously it's going to have to fit over things. So we're going to go ahead and cut off this little drop down section for the rear window, because we're not using that. We'll cut it here. We'll probably cut this out just so it can fit flush, and then we'll have to cut right around this edge, because that, you have to pretend, well, that's basically what's on the car, right? So if we cut that out, the panel should fit right up against it, wrap around the front, butt up against here, and wrap its way around. Now, there's still lots of screwing around to do. If the panel is, we have to drill some holes in everywhere so it can all be kind of plug weld together after the wheel tubs are set. So that's what I'm going to do right now. We'll cut this up, and hopefully it fits. Fingers crossed. I mean, hey, it'll fit one way or another, but easier the better at this point. Man, these wheel tubs are giant though, eh? When you see it without the, well, you can fit a big tire on there. And anybody, if they want to down the road, you can easily just kind of carve out that bit of frame and plate it, and it would legit be mini tub, not just the lazy DD Speed Shop way. Okay, so eyeballing the panel. Good enough to carry on. So the big issue is the wheel tubs, which they fit So that's good. I kind of boned this. I didn't quite get it in there, but we're gonna end up cutting it there anyways. In here, we got it right lined up and it fits nice. I can kind of push it in by hand. The only thing, these panels don't fit for shit. This is, again, it's gotta go over a little more. I can force it, but the big issue, as you can see here, obviously we have, you know, extra metal, so that's gonna cause it not to go over. The back here, it just, like, it's cattywampus. So, I don't know if we're gonna change the tail pan. See, it's the same on this one. The tail pan sticks out, so it's almost like either these are too short or the tail pan needs to move in. So, never ending. Anywho, what we're gonna do now, take the panel off. I'm gonna set the welder up. We're gonna weld in the wheel tubs pretty well permanent, and I mean, anything can come out. Then we'll just tack the quarters on. The other thing we wanna do is make sure the door, oh yeah, so against the welder, the alignment is good. So it's got to go down just a scotch, but not bad. And I mean, ultimately, the other thing we got to make sure, oh yeah, this all lines up too. So there's lots of screwing around, but we can only do so much with the clamp on, right? You can't open and close doors too much. And I'm thinking if we get the wheel tubs in, we get the quarter fit, we get trim down here, we can give it a couple of tacks there, a couple of tacks all the way around, and see what we like. I also have to clean up the quarter. I got to drill a bunch of holes in there to plug welds the wheel tub for final assembly, as well as in here. These all have to be drilled out and plug welded. So yeah, let's get after that. Let's go some welding and some fitting. We'll get this thing dialed tonight. Okay, so now everybody has their own way of doing this. Well, I have my own way of doing it, and everybody has the right way of doing it. A lot of people, they screw the hell out of the panel in place and clamp it a bazillion times, so it's like absolutely locked in there. I mean, that works. For me, I mean, I'm gonna kind of cut this thing to fit, so it's gonna be what it's gonna be. We have it clamped around the wheel well, so that fits real nice. I have it clamped here, so everything kind of lines up. We have a goofy gap here, but obviously this is stuck around here, so I gotta kind of cut that out. I want to make sure the door is going to fit, so the first thing I'm going to do is probably just put like a weld on the edge, which is not really what you're supposed to do. We're not going to plug weld it, but you know what? An edge weld is easy to zip off, and we're just doing some fitment stuff here, so it's kind of irrelevant. I want to make sure the door is going to fit okay. We could probably even put in the door latch if we wanted to, but the wheel arch, like this is really, I mean, again, it all has to be kind of clamped together, but like that's good fitment the whole way around. This has to go in just a little bit. Now here we're running into a bit of a couple of issues. If you just kind of put a little bit of weight into it, that's, you know, that's weldable as far as I'm concerned. And once we have that line, we're perfect. The real issue we're going into is the back, which we have to slice off this piece, I guess, 'cause it's supposed to kind of fit together. I don't know what the plan is. So, I don't know, a ratchet strap around it, all sorts of ideas. Cold War, Scott gave me a bunch of tidbits of information, so we'll kind of keep going. I think we're going to work front to back, because obviously the tail pan and everything being smushed in the back, it's got some issues. The front is pretty good, so if we can get that fitting decent, we can mess around with here, whether we want to cut that out and replace it, modify it, or whatever. But I think step one, I want to cut a big honking chunk of this off and start getting this to fit a little more proper. And then we'll kind of get in there, do a little bit of welding. Everything seems like it'll line up. I mean, we have, you know, there's good metal behind all my little plug welds, so we should be okay. But I like to shut the door without vice grips in there. So let's get set up and start working. All right, well, let's just go ahead and give this a couple of welds here right in the front. See if this door is even in the ballpark. Close your eyes. What the? What's happening here? Oh, paint. Okay, we're good. Close them. That sounded rusty. Good. Oof. Might need a little more grinding. Oh, that sounded good. Okay, we got that. Oh no, the glass! Nobody cares. Okay. Take that off. We'll give it just, it's close enough here for what we're doing. Okay. So the door's low. Oh yeah, but it's low down there too. It's not fit. So I wonder if this door is actually hard to open before. So I'm assuming it's going to do with the adjustment. Oh, I lost a bunch of the washers. Damn it. See if we can thread this in right quick. It's just going to need a little bit of tweaking, but if it does, we can adjust it at the front of the door. That's what doors are for, right? I think we're pretty close, because everything else seems to line up. What the? Okay, what's this gonna do? Oh yeah, it's gonna bring it up. So that has to go up more, but the door is real low, so that's fine. We can fix that, no problem. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. Looks fine to me. Let's butcher through here and just see what we got going on. Yeah, see, it won't even go, so we gotta lift it up big time. Oh, this is loose. Yeah. Okay, pass. Pass enough anyways. Now we'll go ahead and smooth that right off. See if we can get the rest of the panel pretty good. I think this will be, I'm hoping anyways, be pretty quick work. I'm gonna pull back on it too, so see if I can get in there real nice. well, this side fit much better. Lesson learned. This has to go down just a little bit, but again, it has to be pushed down. We're gonna plug weld it from the inside, so I gotta like push down, like clamp it, and then weld it. So it's got just a bit of a gap, but I mean, it's not bad. 1/8 of an inch or so. All around here, you know, that's a nice fit. This I kind of butchered, but easy to body work that. Our window gap ended up, you know, being the same. The door fitment, that's not bad. The door could probably actually just go up a little bit. Oh yeah, there we go. So the door's got lots of adjustment. So that's fine. Stupid gloves. Hang on, there we go. In here, we're all good. This is right in line with the rocker, which again, we're probably gonna repairing, or at the very least, well, probably replacing, I should say. So that's good. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. It does have a little bit of messing around to do at the back. Now I obviously haven't done nothing, but this I'll go over. So we have this little tab, and if I slice that off, then, well, that's what the tail pan's supposed to fit on, I believe. So I'm gonna think about the tail pan for a minute here. I do have it, I probably should just replace it, but mentally I'm not there. Tomorrow's a new day, and if I cut that tail pan out with these quarters where I want them, then that one can go in and I can adjust it a little. I really think this thing was just smacked. It's full of filler. I can hear you in the comments, just do it, it'll be a nice car when it's done. Yeah. We'll do that. Man, the wheel tubs turn out pretty good. We gotta, you know, finish them up just a little, but really, that's pretty dang on good. We got the braces welded back in. They could use a final weld. And then we have no trunk drops. Those are right there by the tire. But they're very simple. They literally, I'll drill some holes, clamp them, they plug weld in, and then just weld them to the bottom of the quarter panel. Well, that's when the quarter panels are like final fitment. I think that side, the side we just did, is probably good. This side might come off. I do want to double check the leaf spring perch and all that, pull all that out, but really they do fit the same. You know, I think we're doing pretty good here. This will have to be trimmed down and welded in properly and stuff, but it looks very much the same as it has, except now the panels are fit and welded, not just kind of screwed on. So this is the old, you know, 20 foot away it looked good. Now it's like 5 foot away, it looks okay. So I think next video, we'll tackle the floor pan, which is gonna be ugly, but we get that in there, we get that welded to the frame rails. Hopefully the other frame rail will be in, because I'd like to get that piece done. Actually, that's probably why that quarter should come off, is just to get that frame rail in 100% proper. But now this one can be completely plug welded, and it'll be nice and sturdy. The car's not going anywhere. It's got a lot of strength back to it, those wheel tubs. Everything's joined together. And yeah, so roundabout way, we're finally there. We finally accomplished it. I'm very happy with it. Is it perfect? Is it the way the body shops are gonna do it? Probably not, but is it the way you can do it in a couple nights in your garage? Yes. And is it gonna have 2 gallons of filler on it? Probably, but it should be pretty good when it's all said and done. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Do your things down below, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel if you wouldn't mind, and we'll be back next week. We'll be putting the floor pan in. Who are we kidding? We're probably cutting that tail pan in. I gotta look at what it looks like. And then we got ourselves a car. Start moving our way forward. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.